I 25M, had been with my now ex 23F, for a little over 3 months. I always made sure we used lots of precaution when having sex. She was on birth control and I always used condoms. I wanted to avoid a child. I have known for a long time that I do not want children. I find them annoying and they would severely limit my ability to do the things I enjoy: traveling, outdoor stuff, etc. Unfortunately for me, my ex didn't have her period when she was supposed to, and it turns out she now pregnant. She came to me and told me she was pregnant. The first thing I did was suggest an abortion. We don't live in a state where it's legal, so I offered to pay for her flight and hotel and told her I'd be happy to come with her to get it done. I have a stable job and make good money, so it is not would not be too much of a hit for me. She works as a receptionist and does not make a lot, so I figured it would be better for me to pay. That when she told me she was hoping to keep it and that she wanted me to help her raise the kid as its father. I have no intention of being a father beyond just my dislike of children. I'm not ready for that. I made it very clear that I didn't want the baby, but she kept insisting that I have a change of heart once it's born and to just try it out. After a long exchange, I told her that if she intended to keep the baby I would not act as a father. I broke up with her and told her that I would pay child support once it's born, but that I expect her to respect my wishes and keep the child away from me. Since then she's been frantically texting me, begging me to come back and telling me she forgive me. She sent me voicemails crying. It does hurt to see, but I haven't responded. The other day she texted me saying how she can raise the kid alone and how I basically forcing her to get the abortion just by leaving. She called me an asshole, an abuser, and a sadist. She ended the text begging me to talk again. I certainly feel shitty. I really liked her and we had a good relationship before this, but I just don't want to be a father. I already bitter about the fact that I'll have to pay child support for 18 years. Which will somewhat limit me financially. I also feel it is not right for a parent who does not want their child to be involved. I just end up taking that pent-up anger and bitterness out on the child who is ultimately innocent, which I feel is not right. With all this said, I come here to ask, Aita? I certainly feel like one, but I also stand by what I did. Clarifying edits, on the topic of a vasectomy, I tried. I met with a doctor last year and asked about getting one, but he refused and said every doctor he knows won't do it until you eat at least 30. It's a conservative state, and while I dislike the politics, I was born and raised here, so I still attached to the state and have never felt the urge to leave. Someone said I should have flown elsewhere to get one, and I guess they right, but I just didn't think about that. On the topic of birth control, I bought the condoms myself, so they were fine. Whenever we were done I throw used condoms in the dumpster, so I don't think she went dumpster diving. I asked her on our first date if she was taking birth control and she said yes. I took her for her word. Maybe foolish to just believe her, but if she was lying she'd be the first I met to lie about that. Most girls I met are honest about it. I assumed she was on the pill since that's the main birth control I know, but maybe she was on something else that I'm not educated enough on. That being said, I'll follow your advice and lawyer up, plus get a paternity test. IDK how long that will take, but whenever I get it done I'll update here with results. Thank you for your judgments. I've been away for a bit, but I'm catching up and trying to read what I can. I'll be checking back periodically and replying to some people. All further feedback is appreciated. Update 1. I have hired one of the better family court lawyers in my state. She has someone representing her pro bono. It has been made clear to my ex and her representative that she is not to contact me personally and that all contact will go through my lawyer from now on. A paternity test is scheduled for next Wednesday. I don't know how long it will take to get results, but the test is happening. If the child is mine, we will go to court to determine child support payments and will set up the process for me to sign away my rights. Another clarifying edit: I was gone for a while, and while reading through some comments I have found a topic I like to clarify for anyone left who still checks here and cares. At the beginning I said I made sure to use lots of precautions. I had thought people would take away from that the idea that I had made my intention to not have kids clear at the beginning. Just wanted to make that clear. She told me she was not looking to have kids. I should have been more clear about this, I guess. I was under the assumption that she didn't want kids, which is why I was blindsided by her change of heart once she was actually pregnant. I understand it happens, feeling change or whatever, but for me it was a big shock. When I go to get the paternity test started, she will also have an ultrasound and we'll talk then. I'll update on Wednesday. BTW, the text will take a few days to process, so I'll also update with results. Relevant comments. Commentator asks about providing emotional support and getting back together with the ex. I don't want to give her emotional support and lead her on. If I around, she'll think I plan to get back together and be a present father, which I don't want. She should know I don't want the kid. That way she more likely to go through with an abortion or adoption. I also don't want to be present for the birth for similar reasons. Plus I'm pretty certain that even if I did change my mind on the kid, I would not want to be with her. She expects me to get back together with her to raise the kid. But if I did end up seeing the kid and wanting her, I have to go through some annoying legal procedure to try and secure joint custody or something. That is a mess in so many ways that it is not worth suffering through. I still certain I don't want the kid, but if I suddenly changed my mind to want the kid and then didn't get any custody, that would be pretty depressing. I'd rather just stay unattached and deal with any regrets I have later. Commentator asks about his family, their support, and the future. There's a lot to unpack here, so I'll try to go piece by piece. Obviously what you experienced is very difficult, so I'm sorry about that. I'm glad you found yourself. About my parents, yes, they want grandkids. They have been hounding me ever since I turned 20 about when I gonna give them grandkids. I already told them I don't want kids, and my sister is lesbian, so they really disappointed at this point. If they found out about the kid and that I was leaving, they would be furious, so I just not telling them about how I'll feel in the future. I honestly cannot say 100%. I know that right now I 100% don't want kids, and I going off that feeling to assume how I'll feel in the future will be the same. Everyone lives with some level of regret, so I come to peace with the idea that if I end up regretting this, I'll just have to move on and live with that like everyone else. If for some reason I felt regret, I would not try to contact the kid. I just keep it to myself and keep chugging along like usual. If the kid does find me one day, I'll just be honest depending on how I'm feeling. Either I was 25 and I didn't want kids and I still done sorry, or I was 25 and I thought I didn't want kids, I was not ready. It's been one of the biggest regrets of my life and I sorry depending on how I'm feeling, most likely the former. I don't know what gave you the impression that I softened to the idea of having kids. I still firmly don't want kids. I just feel pity for the child, 'cause it is no truly their fault. I don't exactly feel good about leaving the child on a moral level, but on a personal level of what is best for me, I feel very confident in leaving. It's certainly a selfish decision, but I've been very upfront with the fact that I'm a selfish person. I feel bad about it, but I'm putting myself and my own personal needs first in this situation by doing what I think is best for me. It's extremely unlikely then she would give up the baby once she's already got the child in her arms and goes through the process. It's extremely emotional and we're wired to take care of our young. Chances of her giving up the baby are like 2%. She really needs to stop hoping you're all going to be a happy family someday, because this is awful for her self-esteem. She can be happy as a single mother, even if it's very hard. Does she have family willing to help? Her own parents? Motherhood is a huge adjustment, and doing it with zero support is awful. PPD is not a joke. She can totally do this without you, but it would be a lot better if she had at least some support from her family. I don't know that much about her family, haven't met them, just heard bits and pieces. Apparently her dad has some drinking issues and her mom is pretty closed off. They live in a different city too. That's about the extent of what I know, but I doubt they'd be able to help her much. I would consider locking down that pathway before she realizes it could lead to your mom. You know, blocking her before she sees your mom comment on a post and making everything go through a lawyer. By the sounds of it, if she makes contact with them, it sounds they definitely take her side of the matter. You definitely have contact with your ex and her child because your family will be involved. I'm not saying you need them, but I feel like within 18 years they'll know, especially considering how the at-home DNA test and programs are. Either way, that doesn't change my mind on you. You're making right call here, and now balls in your ex's court. I don't know if you're considering moving cities, but if you should, to increase the odds of you having no contact, I live near and work in a city of 1.5 million people, and I still have made contact with people I never thought I would again. I don't have a Facebook, so my mom does not comment on my posts, but I'll take the advice and block my ex. I have a good job and I like my apartment a lot, so I don't plan on moving from my city. Even if I see them, I plan to get some sort of legal agreement signed through my lawyer prohibiting direct contact, so hopefully they just have to ignore me if they saw me. Update 2. Sorry for the lateness, but I got the test done and the results are in. The baby is a girl and is indeed mine. When I saw my ex, I had a talk with her. We talked about birth control, and she told me she was on birth control and had no intention of having children. But once she found out she was pregnant, she changed her mind. I believe her. She was hopeful that I would come around to that perspective, so I made it very clear that I will not be part of the child life and gave her 3 options. Option 1. Get an abortion in any state of her choosing and I'll pay for her to stay there for a week, so she could basically take a vacation to Hawaii or NYC or LA on my dime, but I need to come with and get confirmation that she had the abortion. Option 2. Put the child up for adoption and I'll pay for all the medical expenses that come with having a child. Option 3. Keep the child and I pay my court-ordered child support, sign away my parental rights, have my name taken off the birth certificate, and have absolutely zero involvement with her or the child beyond my monthly payments. It was a tough conversation and she didn't take it well. She ended up crying for a while. She kept telling me that I would be a loving and kind dad, asking me to try fatherhood and think about how well our relationship was going before this happened, and to imagine our future together with a daughter. I told her I still firmly against fatherhood and she was devastated. She refuses to get an abortion, but is scared to be a single mother at 23 even though she wants the child. She told me that if I with her during the birth, see and hold the child, but still feel nothing for the baby after all that, then she will consider adoption. She also said if I change my mind about fatherhood she will be waiting with open arms to enjoy parenthood together as a loving family and would hope I propose. I have made it very clear I don't want any involvement. I'm not sure what I should do since I would prefer for the baby to be put up for adoption rather than have to pay child support for 18 long years. But I also don't want to be around the baby at all or present during the birth. Advice is appreciated. Update 3. Finally back with another update. Over the past few days I've gotten a new influx of advice. Some of this advice has been helpful or interesting. Some really good ideas were given to me. So I set up a lunch with my ex yesterday and we had a long and productive chat. It was the first time we had talked in over a month. All our communication had been through lawyers. I decided the best way to ensure the conversation was productive was to set ground rules and make sure we were operating from reality. Both of us haven't been being realistic. I told her that I was giving up on abortion or adoption. It was what I wanted, but I already know it is not gonna happen at this point. My ex wants the baby. I know she does, and I told her I know. I won't be bringing up abortion or adoption to her again. It just is not worthwhile. I have to work within reality, and at this point that means under the assumption that she will keep the baby. I also told her it's time for her to give up on me. I made it very clear to her that I will not be getting back together with her no matter what. Even if she aborts the baby, she will never have the happy family with me that she wants. I made it clear she needs to drop the idea because it won't happen and it makes it impossible to find any real solutions to this situation. She acknowledged that there will be no happy family between us. I think reality has finally set in for both of us at this point. Nobody is going to get what they want, so it's time to compromise. The new goal that we have agreed upon is this: provide my ex and our daughter with the support that they desperately need right now while also allowing me to have zero involvement with raising the child. In other words, I will not be involved in raising the child whatsoever, but will try to give my ex the resources she needs to make sure the child has a good life. I won't be in the delivery room and I will never see her. I will simply provide money. My ex has $25,000 in student debt that she needs to pay off. She is only making around $60,000 a year from her job, and she will be a single mother, which means child expenses and such. By contrast, I only have around 10k in student debt left to pay off, and after a little over 2 years working at the company I just got a promotion and significant pay raise, so I now making roughly 150k a year. Additionally, there is plenty of room for further growth in my field, with income growth potential all the way up to 325k a year. Although that is still pretty far off in the future. I don't say any of this to brag, just to put our situations in perspective. I'll have all my debts paid off by the end of 2025, plus I even setting aside money into a savings account and investment funds. What I trying to say is I have money and she does not, so I will be making up for my lack of presence with significant financial support. I would prefer to avoid court, so I worked with my ex to find a fair monetary support system. All of what comes next is a handshake agreement between the two of us. If someone has a problem, they can go to court and determine child support that way. We talked for a while about what a fair payment system would look like, and this is what we decided on. I will pay for all of my ex medical expenses that come with her carrying the baby, including doctor's visits and hospital bills. When the baby is born, I will pay my ex 2k a month in child support to pay for the child expenses. This will leave my ex with breathing room and allow her to continue paying off her student debt. We don't have exact math, but our estimate we found using phone calculators was that it would probably take her between 6-8 more years to pay off all her student debt. Once she has paid all her debt off, the monthly child support payment will drop to $1k a month. If my ex finds a man who she marries and takes on the role of a father to the child, then my child support payments will stop, since he will be able to provide an extra income stream. Additionally, I will create a savings account that my ex will be able to see. Starting the day the baby is born, I will deposit $500 into the account. I will then deposit $500 into the account on the first day of the month, every month, until the girl turns 18. At that point she will be given access to the account as a college fund. Based on the math we did, the account will have roughly $108k in it, not including interest. I don't know how much college will cost by then, but that should be a significant help for her to pay for college. If she decides not to go to college, I will empty the fund into my personal savings account, so she only gets the money if she attends college. The fund has another condition on it, but I'll get to that later. Beyond money, my ex and the child will need emotional support. This is where my lovely sister comes in. She and her wife love kids. They had been looking into adoption for a few months now. Based on another comment I got, which I cannot find anymore and it driving me crazy, I think whoever wrote it deleted it from a woman whose brother was in a similar situation. The woman decided to take on an active role and help his ex raise the child of her own volition because she liked kids. Knowing my sister was already interested in raising a child with her wife, I reached out and asked her if she would be interested in helping my ex. She was very excited about the prospect if my ex wouldn't have her. I asked my ex what she thought and she said yes. My sister and her wife will act as a support system for my ex. When they have time, they will help my ex with things like babysitting, giving her any advice she needs, or just being there for her to talk to. They'll also be extra family for the child, helping make things like birthdays and holidays special. This is where the second condition for the college fund comes in. As I sure you noticed, my sister is lesbian. I gotten many questions asking why I don't want my parents involved with the child. Let me answer them. My sister came out at 14. From then on she was the scum of the earth in our house. My parents are extremely religious and very homophobic, so as soon as she came out they hated her. No more birthdays, no more Christmas, no more family dinners. They gave her the absolute bare minimum necessities to survive and then left her alone otherwise. Obviously it was extremely toxic. What they did was awful, and my sister has rightly gone no contact with them. My second condition for the college fund is that my ex cannot tell them about the child or let them meet her. What they want most in the world is grandchildren, and I will not give them that joy. My ex has my sister help and support, so she does not need my parents. I made it clear that if I ever find out about her visiting them with the child, there will be no college fund. Finally, I want to talk about me writing a letter based on advice from someone whose father came back and then left. They told me not to come back but to write a letter to my daughter as closure. I don't want to come back, so I thought it was a great idea. The letter will explain why I not around in this whole situation. I going to be truthful but try to also be gentle in the letter. The goal is to make it clear that I didn't leave because of a particular hatred towards her, but just because I never wanted to be a father in the first place. I'll also include something about how hard her mother tried to make me reconsider and how much her mother loves her. I'll end it by wishing her good luck in life. The letter will be officially notarized and will be signed by both me and my ex. When she turns 18, if she has questions about me and wants them answered, my ex will give her the letter. If the letter still can satisfy her and she wants further answers, i.e. given permission for her to talk to me in person, I feel I owe it to her to answer her questions in person if that what she needs for closure. My ex also felt strongly about wanting my name on the birth certificate, so I agreed to that. He's self-aware enough to know he'd take out the resentment on his child if he forces himself to stay. Leaving them is for the best. If she keeps that baby, she'll find a way. He's going to take on some of the financial burden, the rest is up to her. Can't force a man to be a father. He's willing to do everything but that. So you either take his offer or you make it work. Thanks for listening everyone. If you enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Red Relationships to never miss a future upload.